Hello, we are live, yay. I'm excited. I've just realised I haven't got my light on, so it might be a little bit dark. Bear with me 1 second. I will just go and turn that on and then we'll get started properly. Okay, so let me know when you are here, and obviously if you know anybody else who would like to be here but isn't currently here, please share away, hit the little share button and let them know that we're live. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Which I'm really excited about, because today we're talking about active and passive selling. Yay! And I don't think it's going to be what people necessarily expect, which is always quite an interesting one with me. Because sometimes we talk about topics and everyone's like, yeah, sure, I know what that is. And I think that sometimes we use it in different ways in the online world. So if you are here, give me a whoop, whoop, whoop. I'm here. And obviously let some people know, if you know there are people who would like to be here but who aren't here yet, please share away with them, and it would be much appreciated. I am just going to turn off my Wi-Fi. So I will turn off the Wi-Fi, get everybody here. Okay, cool. Okay, so hey Kerry, you are the first person to say hi. Love it. Happy Tuesday. Hey Joyce. Whoop, whoop. I've got Jen, because I just saw her face flash up. Yay, and Lorraine. Okay, so let's get started, because I want to make it quick and easy for everybody. So, active versus passive selling. This is an interesting one for me. So, I used to come from recruitment. Obviously, I was, when I went into corporate sales, and I did an awful lot of recruitment. Hey ladies. And we used to have things called active candidates and passive candidates. And it's the same theory as goes into active selling and passive selling. Okay? Now, active candidates, when it came to recruitment, were candidates who were actively looking for a job. I know. Crazy, right? Okay, so they were the people who were either currently out of work and who were sending their CV around and looking for jobs actively. And passive candidates were the people who were currently in jobs that were very, very similar to the ones that we were probably looking for people for, and that we were approaching and keeping in touch with. Now, in sales terms, it's slightly different. Okay, so active selling is the sales method you typically use when you are selling a new product or service. And active selling means that you are doing that actively, right? You are actively putting it out there, you are approaching people, you are talking about it, you are educating people about that new service or product specifically. Does that make sense, right? Passive selling is about education first and keeping in touch and keeping relevant, and then those people asking you for the sale. Okay, hopefully this is making sense so far. Don't worry, I've got a ton of analogies whacked up for later. We love an analogy over here. Okay, so I want to talk to you about the difference between the two in terms of what it looks like in an online business. Okay, so who would agree that it is much easier to make the sale when the client comes to you and says, hey Jess, hey Jen, hey Joyce, hey Lorraine, I want to buy your course? Who agrees that that is much easier in terms of making the sale than you having to go out there and do a lot of Facebook posts and be talking to people about this amazing new program that you have and da 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 da? But it's much easier for people to come to you and go, hey, I want that thing that you have. Okay? I'm guessing that everyone would agree. My screen just flashed up with a bunch of likes, so I'm going to guess that that means that yes, okay, everybody's happy with that. So the answer is yes, it's much easier. And I'm going to use the phrase land the client, close the deal. I know that they're not necessarily terms that we like, but we're going to use them anyway, okay, in this perspective. Referrals or passive selling is longer, but it's a lot less stressful. Exactly. And it doesn't have to be longer, okay? This is the thing. So, the thing with the thing with sales, and certainly the thing with passive sales, is that passive sales really are what we want. Ultimately, we want to put people in a position where they can make the decision about buying from us without us really having to do all that much. I.e., we don't want to have to drag somebody through a discovery call. We don't want to get somebody on the call and then say, yeah, but can this work for me? Yeah, but, I'm really resistant about this. Yeah, but, what if this happens? Yeah, but I've got to do X, Y, Z, talk to this person, that person, consult the moon guide, like whatever, right? We don't want to have to do that on calls. Lorraine, sometimes also people often have excuses, where sometimes you see something good out of the blue and go, oh, that looks good. Doesn't have to be longer. Yeah, exactly, right? So passive selling doesn't have to be longer, Joyce, right? So this is the thing. Ultimately, we all want to sell passively. We want people to come to us and tell us that they want the stuff that we have to buy. And it doesn't have to take that long because, hey, guess what? We get to educate people, okay? So in the sense of passive selling, the biggest thing that you can do in order to sell passively is to give value. And we talk about this in here a lot, but there are better ways to do it than, sending one newsletter every month and being like, hey, remember me? I came into your inbox last month and I sort of did this cool thing and here's what I'm doing this month. In terms of giving value and passively selling and attracting people to come to you and say, hey, I want what you have to offer, you have to touch on one of 3 points that make people want to buy. Okay, and people buy for 3 reasons. We buy emotionally, so because we are emotionally attached to something, because we resonate with a particular story, because we see a particular journey, because we feel something about that person. We buy aspirationally because we want what that person has, we want that lifestyle, we want to, we aspire to be that kind of business owner or have that kind of business. And we buy through fear of missing out, okay? So we buy because other people that we know really well have had great results or have had a great experience or have really enjoyed something. And so we want to go and do it too because we're similar to those people. And so we have that natural fear of missing out. Don't knock the moon. I'm sorry, I won't knock it again. So those are the reasons that we buy. Okay, that's just fact. That is how we buy. Okay. But when we are buying passively, i.e. we're following people for a long period of time or a short period of time, we buy because we see the value that they give. So we buy from them quickly if, when they give value, they do one of those 3 things. They connect to us emotionally and we see some kind of value in that emotional connection and we have an emotional attachment to them or to the outcome that they are providing. We might be aspirational about it. We might follow somebody and be like, hey, I'd love to have all of my all of my inbox organized and done every month and things like that. And we buy because, hey, my friend follows this person and they said they had a great experience with them, and so I'm going to buy from that person too and get the same results or the same great experience, okay? So that's what we do. Now, that's passive selling. If you do those things when you are selling passively, i.e. you are showing up, you are delivering value to your audience on a regular basis, and it doesn't have to be a daily basis, okay? It can be a regular basis, so it can be twice a week, 3 times a week, as long as it's consistent. You are going to get people who come to you and say, I want what you have. And I don't know what the right option is for me, but I want to buy from you. Please let me give you money. Okay? And it's not unusual. And actually, it tends to come... Oh, I've left my phone on vibrate. 1 second. It tends to come from people who are actually newer to your audience. Okay? And there's a reason for this. Because typically what happens is, when we first meet somebody, when we first start following somebody, we identify with them very, very strongly at the beginning. And as time goes on, we'll build a deeper relationship with that person, which means we'll still identify with them really strongly. But it's interesting because what tends to happen is we almost friend zone that person. Okay? I don't know whether any of you have been on dates with people who are really, really nice, and they're really, really lovely, but you just don't want to sleep with them. Because they're really nice and they're really lovely and they just don't float your boat. Okay? That's the friend zone. And typically that happens after a period of time where that person hasn't positioned an offer in front of you. they haven't attracted you with their content. They haven't given you enough value that has either emotionally, aspirationally, or fear of missing outed you. And so kind of when they make an offer, you're a bit like, maybe I'll look at the sales page. But you're not rushing over there, right? You're not rushing over there like, oh my God, take all my money, have all my things, you know, and let me get all these epic results with you. Not since the early 90s. Maybe it's like a thing. Maybe I'm just getting really retro now. So that's passive selling, okay? And this is why passive selling should actually be quicker than active selling. Because theoretically, what happens with passive selling is that you are giving value and you are educating up front, which means that when you make offers regularly, you're not being friend zoned. Okay, so people are like, oh my God, I love you. You've made this offer. I know exactly where it's going to resonate with me and I'm going to buy it immediately. Okay, Lorraine, I think a lot of my group have fallen into the friend zone. Oh, we'll talk about that in a sec. So then you have active selling, which is actually a lot more work. And it's where a lot of newbies have to start out, because when you are starting to generate an audience and generate a tribe and build that audience base, what tends to happen is you have to do a lot of active selling. Okay, so you're out there, and because you are perhaps newer to the market, your offers are new and your audience is new and your message is new and everything is new, right? So all you're doing all the time is actively selling, and what you're doing really is a lot of quick education followed by sell, 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 because you don't have time to passively warm them up, right? Now, you might be kind of thinking, yeah, but Jess, like, what happens when you're new? Does it mean you can never get to passive selling? No, it doesn't. The simple thing is that you need to be dividing your business into two areas. You need to be dividing your business into, what are my new offers? Like, what are the new things that I'm going to be focusing on, that I'm going to actively sell, and that I'm going to be actively educating my audience on for the next period of time. But when you are actively selling, you actually have to mention that offer, right? You can't just educate for a few weeks and then be like, hey guys, I also have this thing. You have to be upfront and honest about it from the beginning. You do your market research. You say, hey, like, what would you prefer me to provide? Something on this, something on that, something on that. And then you put it in front of them. You say, hey, thanks for voting. Thanks for taking the time to take the action. I've created this for you. Here it is, go buy it. Okay, that's active selling, okay, because you are educating and selling at the same time. Then you need to focus your business on, okay, what am I passively selling? What do I stand for on a bigger level? And typically your passive stuff will actually be your signature programs. It will be your one-on-one work, your higher end, your premium stuff, because that typically, you know, people need to see value up front. They want to understand that you are credible, and they want to be able to rely on the fact that you can provide what you say you're going to provide, right? So that's going to take education. Do you see what I mean? Do you see where I'm going with this? Is everybody cool with where we are so far? So you need to split your business, and at certain times of the year you're going to be selling actively. You're going to be selling active offers, and they can be broken down into seasonal offers. You know, flash sales are actively selling. They are when people are like, I'm going to sell this. Here's the education around the offer. Here is the offer. Purchase it. And then you're going to have passive sold products or offers or services that are showing up just like I am now, giving value, teaching people something, educating them on something they're interested in, and then regularly showing up with an offer that may be an ongoing offer. You know, it might be your one-on-one work, it might be a mastermind thing, it might be that you launch a specific group program every 3 to 6 months, okay? But it's an ongoing process, and it doesn't matter where somebody gets brought in, because that offer is going to be made regularly enough that they are going to see it before you get friend zoned, okay? Does that make sense so far? Let me know. Okay. Now, the thing with getting friend zoned, Lorraine, so basically the active selling is those seasonal offers and programs you actively sell while educating and giving value, whereas passive selling is more about people who see all that and ask you about working one-to-one like they contact you and ask. Kind of. So active selling is not necessarily just seasonal offers. Active selling is where you educate and sell in the same post about the same offer for a period of a week. So a flash sale is an example, but you could also have beta programs being an example because they've never been tested before, and therefore you'll be actively selling them. You'll be saying, this program is the best thing for people who do this, and you'll be selling that program again and again and again within maybe like a week-long period, and that's active selling. The best way to describe it is active selling is when you are selling something that's new, or you are new, and you are almost trying to convince people to buy because they don't yet have a relationship with you. Okay? Does that make sense? Everybody cool with that? Whereas passive selling is where you might offer something on an ongoing basis. So you might offer one-to-one work on an ongoing basis. You might offer high-end mastermind group programs every 3-6 months. And people will come to you and say, how can I purchase this thing? Because they know it's coming. Okay? Yeah? Okay, perfect. So what happens is you then get friend zoned. Okay, so if you don't make a sale, if you don't make an offer for a period of time, what typically does happen is you do get friend zoned because you don't make offers regularly enough. And then what happens is you make an offer and your audience freaks out because they're like, oh my goodness, they've been giving me all this value for all this time and we've been eating it up, and now they want me to actually pay for things. And that scares them a bit, right? And naturally so, okay? Because it would be like somebody saying to you, hey, do you want to test drive this car? And you being like, yeah, how long for? And then just, just drive it around, like bring it back whenever. And then 3 months later saying to you, by the way, you owe me £10,000 for that car, right? You owe me $10,000 for that car that you've been driving around for 3 months. And they'd be like, what the, That's effectively what happens when we don't sell regularly. We train our audience that what we're going to do is we're going to feed them like baby birds. I call it baby bird syndrome, right? You feed them, and then they're sat there like cheeping, give me more, feed me more. And then you suddenly are like, yeah, no, get out the nest, I'm never feeding you again. And they're like, okay, it worries them. Jen, would I be right in saying that you're not convincing them of your product and outcome, you're convincing them to work with you because you're new? No. Okay, convince is a difficult word when it comes to sales because typically when you say the word convince, people assume that you mean sleazy, scammy, you must buy my thing, otherwise this won't happen. When I'm saying convince, I mean, it's a new product and you're educating people and you're selling them at the same time. Ergo, you are convincing them to either choose a solution that meets their needs or you as a person, coach, business person. Does that make sense? So it's not convince in the sleazy sense of the word. It's convincing in terms of you are educating them and you are asking them to make a decision either on you as a coach or an entrepreneur or a product or service at the same time. Okay? So for example, one of the things I see quite a lot is that people will go, I'm for one day only, I'm reducing the price of, I don't know, a website. I see it a lot with website designers. For one day only, I'm going to be reducing the cost of designing a website from $5,000 to $2,000 for 24 hours. And they will try and get in as many people as possible. That is actively selling. They are appealing to people who may or may not otherwise be interested. They're appealing, they're kind of going out there, they're talking about on social media to people who may or may not be interested. They're firing it out to their email list. They're sending it to everybody. Lorraine, can I give you a visual example of what? What would you like the visual example on? And then, yes, of course. But say, for example, you've got a web designer, they do a flash sale, they're spamming it out everywhere. And, I use the word spam lightly. I'm not saying they're being spammy, but they are sending that offer out to everybody in the hope that somebody is going to buy it. That is active selling. They are putting it all over the place and they are hoping that somebody's going to buy, right? Passive selling is delivering consistent value and delivering consistent education to your audience. So i.e., let's say that you sign up for an opt-in of mine, and every week you get a little newsletter that says, hey, here's some more value, and you watch some lives and you're in the Facebook group and you're doing all this stuff, and I say, I've got spots for people to work with me one-on-one. people come and they say to me, Jess, I want that spot. There's no question on the price. There's no question on when it is. It's Jess, I want that spot. Because I have been giving them value and passively selling them for a period of time. Now, that person might have only known me for 2 weeks. They might have known me for 6 months. It's totally dependent on the way that you communicate your value and the outcomes that you can provide to others. Does that make more sense, Lorraine? Is that a more visual example? But yeah. Hey, Helen. How are you, my lovely? So we're just talking about active versus passive selling, okay? Active selling is when you take a new offer, or you are new and you're sending it out everywhere, hoping that somebody's going to buy. So typically we see this in Facebook groups, and I guess the best example is the person who puts their offer in 5 groups in 5 minutes because, you know, they think they're going to get more sales that way, right? And that's not necessarily the case. However, active selling can also be really good. If you have a lower priced passive product, if you have like a mini course or an ebook or something like that, actually you can pick up a lot of traction doing that, and you can put people into your passive selling nurture funnel because they'll get a taste of you, right? So you could, and we had this question in the Jotties earlier, I think it was from Jen, about you using those promo threads. If you put passive products in those promo threads and they're like $20 and someone picks it up and they go into your passive value funnel and they see the value that you give and they get really excited about you and working with you, and they keep getting your newsletter or your Facebook lives, they will come to you and be like, how can I work with you? How can I build this relationship, right? Exactly, Jen. Those are your awesome clients. The ones that come to you and say, how can I make this happen? But they don't do it on their own. Right? They don't do it on their own. They do it with your help. It's your job to nurture these people. Ah, Helen, I adore you. So it's a bit like an online shop where the passive selling goes on through all their Instagram posts, blogs, YouTubers using their products, building relationships and engaged audience. In contrast, active selling would be when that online shop runs a flash sale and that attracts people who never saw the shop before but want a particular item on sale that day. Yeah, exactly that. Okay, so think about the Facebook ads you see after you've been retargeted from Amazon. Okay, I've been buying stuff from Amazon for Sam's birthday this week, and now I've been retargeted with all the same stuff for like 20% off, and it really drives me nuts, but also it makes sense, you know? So it's that kind of thing. Yeah, you got it. I'm glad. Yay! So that's where it is. And the thing is, there are 2 very different types of selling, and they will command 2 different price points. Active selling is usually done with, like I say, lower price products or beta products, and that means that you are probably charging less for them than you would normally charge. Passive selling, because it's people coming to you, they have already made the decision. They know how much money they are prepared to spend, and sometimes even if they don't know how much they're going to have to spend working with you, they will come and say, how can we make this happen? Like, tell me and I will make it happen regardless. Yeah? So actually your passive sales tend to be people who you are going to have in your sales funnel for a long time to come. Okay, so we have Jen here, and Jen openly tells people, so she won't mind me saying, that she sometimes has felt that she's just like, I'm going to just throw all of my money at Jess, right? And she buys pretty much everything that I have for sale, and has always got phenomenal results because she's a phenomenal action taker, right? Jen was a passive person. Jen was a passive sale. I had Jen in my community. I met her on a Facebook Live that she did when she came in, and she was on holiday in Iceland. She was watching a Facebook Live, and I was like, oh my god, it's your first ever Facebook Live here. Yay! And got very excited because, you know, it was really cool. And then I think it was 2 weeks later, maybe, I sent out an email to my list making a regular offer, and I said, hey, I've got spots. These are my last 2 spots to work with me one-on-one for a month. This is the price. Like, go, basically, to my list of warm audience people that have been nurtured, that, you know me, like me, trust me. And Jen came back and said, I want that spot. I'm going to make it happen. Like, I'm there. You know, there was no jumping on the phone. There was nothing else. It was just, I'm going to make that happen. Now, Jen has gone on to buy higher level programs, and I think has bought maybe 3 or 4 from me so far. Now, that makes Jen somebody that has been a passive sale who understood the value that I gave up front, got the education that she needed, knew, liked and trust me, bought within a short time period, and continues to purchase, okay? And will probably come back over time as and when she needs top-ups to different parts of her business, okay? Other people come into my funnels who are active buyers, okay? So they might be people who are seeing like a quick Facebook ad, or they are somebody who is jumping in at the last minute when I'm promoting something in my group or to my list, and they're like, oh, that solves an immediate problem of mine. I'm going to have that. And they buy, and they may only buy once. Okay, they might buy twice. Sometimes they'll go on to be a long-term buyer, but it's generally not as usual because they're buying something that is lower price, that typically is lower ticket, where they're not going to, put masses of effort into it. And so what that means is that typically they'll be like, oh, I really mean to read that ebook. And then it skips out of their mind for 2 or 3 days. Okay, does that make sense? So in terms of your bottom line and where you are going to make profit and also generate the best relationships and the most impact, because obviously when people are passive buyers, they're coming to you and they're saying, hey, I'm here to take action. I'm committed to achieving this particular result. They are the people who are going to get the best results, generally speaking, right? And it is a generalization, but I'd say you're looking at probably 85 to 90% of people who are passive buyers, i.e. who have been nurtured by you, who have got value and been educated by you, and then who come to you and say, what's the right option for me, or how can I purchase whatever, are going to be the people who take action on it, who are really committed and who get the best results. The people who are active buyers, who maybe buy an ebook or something small, are going to take longer to warm up, and they're not necessarily going to implement everything. Okay? Is this all making sense? Or is everybody really angry now that I'm categorizing people into active or passive buyers? It's not a judgment either. Let's be clear. You can be either type of buyer. I'm somebody who is, if I see something that solves an immediate pain point of mine, I'll buy it. It's one of those things. I'm somebody, if I drive past the supermarket and there are people out there washing cars and I'm like, oh, I haven't had my car washed in a while, I'll buy it. I'm actively sold because I've seen it and I'm like, oh, solves a problem, I'll do it. They are actively selling. They are putting themselves in a position where they're like, we are here, we are visible, we're hoping for customers. I'm also a passive buyer in that I follow people. I follow high-level coaches and stuff, and when they make an offer, when there's something like, hey, we're opening up application spots for this or for one-on-one work, for mastermind work, etc., 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 I'm the first person. If I've been following that person and I see that this is the first opportunity they've got to work with me, I'm there. Absolutely no hesitation. So you can be both types of buyer, and you will be a different type of buyer for different things. You might be an active buyer for household goods, like I am, walking around the supermarket. I'll be like, oh yeah, I sort of need that, whatever. But a passive buyer for other things that are more high ticket, that are more premium. Sam, this is resonating with me, realizing I'm a passive buyer, but I've been active selling. And that's really interesting. When you are a passive buyer, but you actively sell, you don't always get the results you want. And the reason is that you can't understand why people are not being you, because if you were you seeing the offer, you'd be like, of course I want that. Of course it solves my problems. And you would be, there. The problem is when you active sell to your audience, and they're like, well, why are you active selling? Just, give us the value and tell us you want the sale regularly. It can be difficult for them to put it into perspective, right? Sometimes you have to give the value and then make your offers regularly. Marla, is this your first live with us? Yay! Welcome. If it's your first live, it's really nice to have you. Welcome to the tribe. We're happy to have you here. Helen, makes sense. I'm both. Me too. Ariana, I'm definitely a passive buyer. Ariana really is a passive buyer. She passively bought from me. Sam, I buy high end and will continue to invest time and time again. Exactly. Lorraine, some of us have bought after you've sold passively and then gone on to be your cheerleaders that encourage other people to buy from you too. Love that hashtag. Exactly. And this is the thing. So what tends to happen is your passive purchasers will also be your cheerleaders because they are the people who have committed and who've been the action takers and typically got great results. They'll then go on and they'll tell other people, oh my God, you've got to work with Jess because she's really great. She did this for me. And then what happens is you get people who buy from you passively because they say, Lorraine told us you're amazing and that she got great results. I want great results. So you're that girl. How can I work with you? And again, that speeds up the passive process. Okay? That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to educate people first, give value first, and make regular offers so that you are not missing out on buyers, so you're not friend zoning yourself. Yeah? Joyce, definitely passive, and I wait for the active cycle too, like with cash creation. Exactly. And this is the thing, you know, one of the things that the ladies who are just joining cash creation will be learning is about how you can use both active and passive selling, because it covers, you know, it's about both. It's about going, okay, how can we make offers more regularly that people actually purchase? How can we give ourselves that financial cushion, that financial stability that we need so that we can do a passive process? Hey Sharik, how are you, my love? So we can do that passive process without thinking, shit, I have to make money, I've got to make money, I've got to make money. Because ideally your business should be running on a grow, nurture, sell basis. You've got to grow your tribe every quarter, you've got to nurture them every quarter, you've got to sell to them every quarter. And that's what we're teaching in that method, okay? Active and passive selling, so that you have that financial cushion where you can go off and you can create things of value and give yourself that time and financial freedom that you want, all right? Okay, awesome. If anyone has any questions, shout. But yeah, again, cash creation is open. It is only open until Sunday, so if you are not in cash creation yet, and if you are somebody who is thinking, actually, I want to be making and generating revenue quickly in my business, please join. This is the final round I'll be running this year. I won't be running another round. I don't do false scarcity or urgency, so if you don't get in this time, the next round will be opening in February 2018. Okay, so that is it for 2017 for cash creation. Okay, but if you've got any questions, please shout. I'll be happy to kind of help you out. I'm going to be around and about this evening. I've got a client intensive starting shortly, so I'm going to be going and doing that, and then I'll pop back in afterwards and see if there are any questions. Okay, but really think about the kinds of buyer that you are and the kind of seller that you want to be. Okay, that's what I want to leave you with today. Helen, get in. We're all in there together, and the alumni giving tips. I know, it's amazing, and we still have like a ton of alumni who are trying to get into the group. So we have like a ton of alumni coming in, and we've got people who are joining every day. The new round is really awesome. We have a ton of new campaigns and strategies for people to be using. So if you're somebody who's like, I've got a recurring revenue model, or I have an affiliate driven model, or I have a beta program that I want to get in and do, please do not miss out on this round, because you have the most support. And the other thing that we haven't announced yet, but hey, we'll go for it, is that everybody who has signed up as a VIP for this round of cash creation also gets Voxer access to Heather Gray. Voxer access for 6 weeks to Heather Gray. That is phenomenal. That's like a ridiculous bonus that you will get. So if you are a VIP for cash creation this round, you'll get Voxer access with Heather Gray. If you are not a VIP, you are going to get a 2-hour mindset workshop with her. One at the beginning of cash creation. So one in week 2, where she'll be helping you take action, where she'll be helping you break past your fear, get past the blocks. And one in week 5, where you'll be actually getting another workshop to help you implement everything and move forward. So it's really exciting. It's a great round to join. So we obviously have Heather there, who's going to help everybody take action. You're going to get all of the strategies, and you've got access to the community as well, the cash creation alumni, which is phenomenal. Like seriously, these are people who've been through cash creation, who absolutely get it, and who know just how easy, difficult the campaigns are, and who are going to, you know, really be there and give support as and when necessary. All right. Love it. Helen, oh my god, that's gold. Right, I had a 90-minute session with Heather 2 weeks ago, and then I got 2 weeks of Voxer Access, and I paid a lot more. Okay, so just as an FYI, if you're not in cash creation yet and you've wanted to work with Heather and you want to make money in your business, now is your time. Okay, Shariq, awesome. Exactly. So I will let you get on with your afternoons, evenings, mornings, wherever you are in the world. I will be back in here tomorrow. I'm going to be sharing some cool stuff in here tomorrow about the differences between active and passive selling, and showing you how you can actually do it and how you can craft different pieces of content that are going to help you either sell actively or passively. So that should be kind of cool. And I will be seeing you all around in the group and stuff, I'm sure. Quick public service announcement. I know since the challenge we've all been like, you know, relax because it's a holiday and there's been a holiday weekend and stuff. But I have noticed a couple of spammy posts in the group. So if you don't engage on a regular basis, so you don't give 80% of the time, you're not starting conversations, you're not, you know, giving value to the group, answering questions, supporting other people, please don't come in here and spam your links, because A, it looks spammy and you don't get any engagement, and B, I have a very, very low tolerance for it, and so now I'm just starting to delete those posts and remove the members from the group. We used to have a 3-strike policy. I'm really tired of that. So we have a 1-strike policy now. Okay, you get it once and then you're out, which is what we're running now. But yeah, so just as a quick public service announcement, please show up in here. Please use the group, get support, learn from everybody in here, learn from all the other people in the group and the amazing things that we have access to. And please sell transparently on an 80-20 basis, right? Okay, so if anyone needs to have a quick reread of the rules, it's all good, but just be aware that spam isn't tolerated in here and you will just be deleted. Okay, that's just how we roll. All right, awesome. Okay, my loves, have a wicked afternoons, evenings, mornings, wherever you are, and I will be back in here tomorrow sharing some cool stuff on posting, on content that you can use from active and passive selling. Christine, I love it, a 1-strike policy. Do you know what? It just takes too much time. And the other really annoying thing is that people then have started to message me to be like, oh, Jess, I just want to argue about why my post was deleted. And I'm like, I don't care why you want to argue. The fact is, you've never been in this group, you've never given any value, and you're trying to direct everybody to your calendar to book a discovery call. And it doesn't work. That's why I delete them. It's not because I, you know, also don't agree with it and think it's spammy. It's because if you don't show up and give value, nobody's going to buy from you. So it just wastes your time. And that's what I don't get. It's like spray and pray marketing, and we don't do that in here. We do solid marketing that actually works, all right? They already know they shouldn't do it. Exactly. All right, so there we go. That's the vent for today, I guess. And I will be back tomorrow. There will be a ton of value coming in the group. And we are going to have some guest speakers in here next week as well. And heads up, there's going to be another challenge at the end of July, which I'm very, very excited about. So if you've ever wanted to learn about funnels, hang about for the end of July, because there is going to be another challenge. We're just putting it together. And I was too excited to leave it like 2 months, so it's going to be at the end of July. That's my happy dance. All right, have a wonderful evening, my loves. I will see you tomorrow. Any questions on the replay or anything, please just ask and I'll pop back in and answer for them. And Marla, it was seriously so good to have you here. I'm really, really pleased that you joined the group, and welcome.